Data analytics projects can get complicated and messy and out of control. The Simpler Analytics Framework is a guide to help you stay in control and simplify all of your conversations, requirements gathering, and anytime you need to communicate about your analytics efforts. This worksheet and the walkthrough today is to help you stick to the framework and keep things simple. There are several sheets here with a description. The questions sheet is an opportunity to list out questions and audiences. These audiences can be however you want to define them. There's some examples here. Sometimes it's by department, sometimes it's by customer group, sometimes you only have one or two, which is actually a great place to start when you're starting analytics. Listing out questions that these audiences are answering is often an easy way to start the conversations. What questions are you trying to answer with data? So listing out questions here, and then subject area is optional. It's just a way of grouping questions. If you start to get a long list of questions, you can apply a subject area. Again, a subject area can be whatever grouping makes sense to you. So you might have by business process, or you might have by question type. There's really no rules here. It's just a grouping, and again, it's optional. As you identify audiences and questions, it's helpful to just mark which audiences are interested in each question. You may have multiple audiences interested in the same question, or you may have one audience that asks multiple questions, or any combination of those. Metrics is just a simple list of metrics. Give them a name. Make sure they have a business owner who really is the authority on the metric. A business description will help everyone come back days, weeks, or months later and remember exactly what this metric is supposed to be describing. And then technical calculation, this could be pseudocode or a description, just some way of helping whoever's going to implement this metric understand how it should be calculated. And then data sources is just a helpful reference that if you know your metric comes from your CRM system, and that's the only data that's going to be necessary to calculate this metric, you can just choose your CRM system here. Or if it's a combination of multiple data sources that need to be combined to actually get to this metric, you can go ahead and choose these. And this just becomes a reference. Often it's easy when we're defining these to recognize, well, the data is going to come from these systems, and then later this becomes a reference that you can refer back to as you're implementing these metrics. Data sources, again, this is usually an easy list. Business owners of systems understand what data is there and that the data is in there that can answer the questions that they have. So just listing them here, listing who the business owner is, the technical owner if there's a technical contact for that system, and any notes that describe why the data source is going to be important for analytics. And then by the time you get to data products, these are your dashboards or your reports or even maybe data shares that need to go out to other audiences. But just giving them a name, identifying who the primary audience is for this report or dashboard, and what are the questions that are intended to be in scope for this. It's often helpful to have a scope around a dashboard or a report so that they don't get big and out of control and hard to understand. So just identifying the top 3 questions that this data product is intended to answer is the intent of this sheet here. And then glossary is an optional sheet. Sometimes it's helpful just to write down the definition that we all agree to. It's amazing how many companies, when you ask the question, what is a customer? There are varying definitions across departments, and I think that's a very common situation. So by writing them here, we're all on the same page of what at a corporate level or an enterprise level we intend for this term to mean. And often these terms can become dimensions. So in the future you may say, I want to see revenue by customer, or I want to see revenue by location. And this can be a helpful starting point for those conversations. So by following this worksheet, you will more easily be able to follow the Simpler Analytics framework, which again will simplify all of your efforts in your data analytics projects.